Okay, so this is a follow-on to the video that we did about canines on live PD. And specifically about that was that conversation about how many were first to blame the vendor as the problem for the performance that people see in dogs. So whether it be something they see on live PD or um, maybe they meet up in a group, training group, and a dog struggles. A common question that came in was, where the dog get purchased from, who was the vendor, and that kind of thing. So after that post, there were some great points brought up. One of the main ones being that as a law enforcement industry, there has been distrust between vendors and the agencies. I've been on both sides of this equation. I've been a vendor. I still kind of operate as a vendor. I don't sell a whole lot of dogs anymore, but I still do fall into that category. I've also been in law enforcement. I've been there with my agency when we've gone and test dogs. And of course, that mindset that we had when we go there is okay, where are they hiding those Monte Cristos? Where's that top shelf dog? Where is it hidden? They're going to show us some junk first just to see what we like. Um, and there's this chess match that sometimes agencies go through between themselves and the vendor as they try to look at dogs, with the premise being that they don't want to get one pulled over on them when it comes to that purchase. Are there vendors out there that may operate in a less than ethical way? Of course, just like any industry, there are plenty of shysters out there in anything that sells something. Um, there's also a different issue to look at too. One of which is many times agencies that are out there looking at dogs don't have a lot of experience when it comes to selection of dogs. What traits are they looking for? There's a number of times where it's a agency that maybe it's had a canine program for numerous years, but those one or two handlers have moved on. The new handler is now tasked with going out there and finding a dog. So sometimes the supervisor who's not a canine handler will go out there because they were part of the process before, so they kind of know something. Other times, a neighboring agency that has a program will join them, but maybe they only have one or two dogs experience. Sometimes you'll get assistance through an agency that has a lot more experience. The problem is, even with that, that's definitely a lot better. There's so much that needs to be learned. What are things to look for? Another little complication to add to that is maybe the agency that's out there assisting the newer department or that newer handler in selection of the dog, they may have just different operational environments. Their needs are different. So what they may look for and want is different than what that agency needs. Another one that happens is, oh, it's a new handler. Don't give them too much yet. They don't know how to handle it yet. So let's give them this, whatever it is, right? So there's this aspect of the knowledge base of the buyer is also compromised in a way or less than what it should be most cases. There are plenty who know what they're doing, can go out there to a vendor, go test dogs, get what they're looking for. Let's add one more complexity to this. When you go out and test a dog with any vendor or any place, you're getting a snapshot of that dog. Most times, let's say you go to a place and you get lucky enough to look at 5 dogs. You'd spend a couple hours looking at these 5 dogs. That gives you maybe 25, 30 minutes per dog to make an evaluation. So you're looking at these real generalities. Is it environmentally sound? Can it do this kind of bite, or does it play this way, or can it handle various environmental stressors, gunfire, etc.? That's a snapshot. And of course, many people know how often has this dog been prepped for these tests and so on. Another aspect in that part there, agencies do not want to leave a vendor without a dog in their hand. I don't know why, for the life of me, I do, but walk away. If there's nothing there you want, leave. Easier said than done, but it should be done. If there's nothing there that meets your standards or what you want, go home. So much pressure is felt by trainers or the handler to return to their agency with a dog they purchased because they drove X amount of hours to the vendor. They better come back with something. I'm not wasting the money on a trip and we didn't come back with something. So then you come back with something that maybe you shouldn't have taken, only to inevitably return the dog. Now, I guess maybe weighing out the lesser of evils here, maybe it is better for you at your agency to come back with something knowing that you just have to go back to return it versus coming back with nothing. Maybe the negative there is if you came back with nothing, does or would the agency say you can't go back, you can't go find another dog? I haven't seen an agency do that. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but I'm just saying if you held your line and you went to a vendor and you said there's nothing here that meets my standards, you go home. Almost every vendor I know, when you come back that next time, pretty damn well make sure that they got what you want. And it's very quickly they show you they have what you want. They also learn some things too when they saw you on that visit, which is learning what you liked if they've never seen you before. So we have a gap of consumer education. We as an industry should do more to educate ourselves on when you're a buyer, what you're looking for, what tests are conducive to your needs. Not every test matches what you need. What agency X uses for testing is a lot of times, hopefully, based on what they needed. Does your agency have the same needs? If so, great. If not, maybe you have some specific things that are unique to your area or your policy and how you deploy. You need to make sure you find dogs that do that. And that might take a few visits. It might take going to 3 or 4 vendors to do it. Don't hesitate to put in that time and that effort because it'll pay you dividends later on when you're not wasting your time returning a dog. The more vendors get, let's say, held accountable to what you're looking for, they'll make sure they have what you want. If you go there and you don't know what you want, I'm not going to lie. I've seen many vendors just say, they just throw stuff at you to see what you like. Sometimes it's the paint job. I can't tell you how many times I've been on purchasing or been at the vendor's location, seen agencies come there, and the dog they walk away with is the dog they liked how it looked. It performed okay, but they cared about its presence or the colors, things like that that are arbitrary and really the need of the dog and what it should do working wise. But hey, if you know, as a canine industry, there are multiple sides to this equation. All sides have to make improvements. I want to open the dialogue, and I'm willing to help any agency, and I'll stay in my lane for what I do nowadays. I'll stay for me in detection side of things. I'm always happy to help. There'll be more videos coming out on things that I think are critical to look for in detection dogs, and then I'll even break it down into certain detection disciplines, why certain things I look for are different in a bomb dog than a drug dog, than a gun dog, or electronic media dog, and so forth. So, really good conversation that came from that post. I hope there's more good conversation that comes from this one, but we have to be better at our education, both for vendors meeting the needs of their clients and being willing to offer that up right away. I'm not saying that those don't, but there are some that do that. And more critically, buyers, these agencies, before you go out and buy a dog, be educated on what you need, how to evaluate that, the proper testing procedures, a sequence in which you do these tests, and then put in a little bit of time to look at these things, and don't feel rushed, and be willing to walk away if there's not what you need at that vendor's location. Go home empty-handed. It's better than going home most times with something that you don't need and that you're probably going to return. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.